Land is a critical factor of production. It is the most important resource in Uganda, where women and men drive their livelihoods. Government of Uganda recognizes the importance attached to land through the constitutional provisions and other statutory instruments. According to the Constitution, all citizens have a right to own land, making land ownership a human right. Unfortunately, communities across the country are faced by massive evictions and land grabbing perpetuated at different levels and by various individuals. This is as a result of the growing need for land by individuals, companies and government, which poses a question of land governance and administration from family to national level. The challenge has caused a growing threat to the national food security and increased vulnerability of the poor, especially women and children. Once evicted, these are most affected, since their sole survival is within the food investments they have done on the piece of land at their disposal. It is with this background that the Food Right Alliance, a coalition constituted in 1999 to having together civil agriculture and food security in Uganda, launched a campaign against land grabbing. The coalition focuses mainly on a national campaign that aims at stimulating national debate on land grabbing and amplifying the debate in the public domain for informed decisions and free consents in land investments and negotiations in Uganda. Land and food activists believe that the statutory books need to refocus more on land user rights than simply protecting land ownership.
We want the world to know that yes, there are ownership rights, but what is very critical for the sustainability of livelihoods and humanity is the issue of access and user rights. We cannot only access and use what we own. It's not practical, it's not real.
Chirabo says that this legal emphasis on land ownership has bred massive evictions, placing huge chunks of land in the possessions of few individuals. This, she says, is the root cause of the current disastrous state of land struggles and food insecurity.
You cannot delineate between food security or people's right to food and people's right to access to land. There are two things. When you talk about land, people run very fast to think about ownership rights. But our biggest concern to start with is user rights, access to land to produce food.
Indeed, the two are inseparable, yet so dear to people's livelihood. And so, whoever attempts to detach the two causes conflict and bloodshed. For instance, these youths of Amuru district in Acholi sub-region have just been released from prison for resisting an eviction. Excited of being reunited with their families, the youth were arrested when police, the army and Uganda Wildlife Authority mounted a joint operation to evict the alleged game reserve encroachers in the district. The angry residents, who termed the eviction as illegal, narrate their ordeal.
There were 5 lorries here. They forced people to load the lorry with their properties on and transported to Pabu. There people were dumped in Pabu sub-county. The food and other things which people had has got lost from there. Now people came back to their home without anything to eat.
Right from secondary level, it has been this soil, this very land, financing my education. At this age, when I'm 42, it is very shocking and it has been very painful to the extent that I would have run mad to hear some government officials coming to make pronouncement that this is a wildlife reserve.
25 youths were arrested and 11 released on bond. Wiping tears from their faces, the youths met with officials from Food Rights Alliance and their political leaders. The equally disappointed leaders blame the relevant authorities for breaching the degazettement policy, leading to illegal evictions and property destruction.
In 2002, the Choli community were in camps. Therefore, no one was consulted. And they were saying that they went and consulted the Ajumani district local government. Yet, this area does not belong to Ajumani district local government.
Although the locals returned to their pieces of land, they live under fear and uncertainty, which has greatly affected their production abilities.
Money oh why you know what day to school get kwanyo uloka yen pa mongi pa police pagamente ya duoga mi rieni en madongi riema wa chaka ni de pierion en wa peba gikina chama jemi tere bene peka gino chama yelo tino chama bene pekeri gwana ka gino mi ko ot gi chwenye wiyo I ot wa kole ni kaman gi chwenye kadi na wunu don we ot uno mawti en wa kole wa pe.
This is not, however, limited to Amuru district only. It has been proved that wherever land conflict occurs, there is reduction in productivity, resulting into famine.
When you evict 1,000 people off land, you have created a deficit in food supply within the economy. Because when they are being evicted, they don't grow.
When the crops are ready, you can apply to quote that the beneficiary harvests their crops. But when they are still, when they're at that weeding level, then of course the weed eats them up, and I don't think that's positive for the society. We have lost food. We've lost food. The land case is not about to end.
This pregnant single mother of 3 children is a resident of Chitoka sub-county in Bunyoro region. She is a victim of land grabbing and currently surviving under God's mercy because the grabbers did not only take her land users' rights, but also her dignity as well. Currently, she has no shelter and food to feed her children.
The problem of housing and our children, they are suffering. We are sleeping outside like animals. And even we are lacking lack of food, nothing here to eat. And even our children, they like to go to school, nothing to give for them to eat, just we are suffering outside. The government should assist us.
In fact, these people, I would request even the government to come and rescue. Otherwise, you can see the way I'm standing now, these families. At times, now there's a problem of famine. We are lacking food. You see, these people, the children especially, they are starving with food. I really don't know. At least I would request the government to come and help us how we can help these children, especially the mother.
Besides being crucial for human consumption, food is said to be one of the contributors of the country's monetary system and policy. This means that whenever land is grabbed and communities are displaced, food production is greatly affected.
We suffered the inflation last year, and we are yet to suffer it more. If we let the vice of restricting farmers' access and use of land, we continue evicting thousands in Buyikwe, 10,000 in Amuru, 30,000 in Kamwenje. Wherever the evictions are happening, we can continue doing that. But at the end of the day, by the time the circle makes 360, we are all going to feel the impact.
Although government passed the Land Amendment Act 2010 to safeguard people's rights on land, the implementation of law has remained a major problem. Land grabbers have either exploited loopholes within the law or used their political powers to forcibly take away peasants' land.
The implementation of the clauses in the various laws and the policies that Uganda has that can enhance the protection of rights of the people. Uganda has numerous laws and policies, all geared towards ensuring tenure security. But the problem is the implementation of these laws is where we get a hiccup. So we are looking at all these laws being put into effect to see that in cases where the people have not yet been dispossessed, they can stand up and stop the vice.
Kamwenge district currently has over 30,000 households that are living under the fear of being evicted. Government claims that these people illegally settled in a refugee settlement camp. However, the dilemma is that the alleged illegal settlers possess land registration certificates dating as far back as 1930s. Land grabbing is also prominent among family members.
The problem arose from land. There is a brother of mine, youngest brother of mine, who stays abroad in Australia. He came here and found a squatter on our father's land. Then they had discussion with the squatter. The squatter wanted to leave the place, and they compensated that place by paying the squatter some amount of money. Then after which, when he left back for duty, the other cousin brother claimed that that was his land. For that reason, I personally failed to understand, because by the time the other brother was paying this amount of money, cousin brother was present, and I even signed an agreement. When the other man paid the money to pay the land, the cousin brother even signed on the agreement. But after my brother had left, he changed. He became another chameleon.
This is common in Masindi district. According to the resident district commissioner, attending to these complaints is a full-time job, which has resulted in halting other development programs. The district is occupied by both cattle keepers and agriculturalists. Oftentimes, cattle keepers graze within people's crops, resulting into conflicts. Masindi district operates under customary tenure land system, which the authorities describe as difficult to administer during land conflicts because of lack of clear demarcations. They therefore want to embark on land titling as an immediate solution. Aggrieved parties sometimes seek for litigation means, but the courts are equally overwhelmed with land disputes, and besides, they are expensive and compromised by the rich.
For us, we are seeing someone who has a lot of money, as far as this land case is concerned, is the one winning the case in court. Citing an example, at times you find these magistrates judging the case of land without reaching on the site. That one is really unfair.
A court case takes a minimum period of 2 years, and during this process, concerned parties are normally barred from utilizing the contested piece of land, making their family's survival more difficult. Whichever way one looks at or handles the land grabbing issue, it all zeroes down to its importance towards human survival. Activists, however, warn that if evictions are not timely controlled, the country is likely to face grave effects that cannot be easily handled by the economy.
This is a national disaster. National disaster. The rich will dip their hands deeper into their pockets to access food. The poor will empty their bags, meaning that they are suspending other basic needs they need. What will come up? Malnutrition, deaths, failure to adhere to drugs, because I've never seen a doctor who prescribes a drug and says, this one, when you take it, spend 2 weeks without eating. I have never seen that. Every doctor who gives you a drug says after meal, or take a lot of food or fluid or what. I've never seen a doctor who says, this one, when you take it, sleep hungry for 2 weeks.